Hi, I'm Clarinda, and you are listening to the Feel Light, Mind, and Body podcast, created for women like you. Women who are experiencing success in so many areas of life, but are struggling with weight loss, stress eating, and decreased energy. Losing weight can feel hard, heavy, and restrictive. That's why every week I will be offering you a different perspective, tips, encouragement, and a unique approach so that you can feel lighter in your mind and body rather than feeling deprived, frustrated, or discouraged. What if you could feel free, yet in control around food for the rest of your life? What if you could enjoy your experience of losing weight and getting healthier? You absolutely can. You're in the right place. Take this time for yourself and let's dive in. Welcome to episode number 2. Are you ready to maximize this time? Well, let's get right to it. Ask yourself, how satisfied am I right now with blank? And you play with various words in that blank. Today, you will discover how to make your life even better. You may look back on today's episode and say, that was when I started to make the shift that I needed to feel lighter in my mind and body. Let's start with identifying your top 3 values, and you will see why this is a game changer. So, without judgment or any preconceived ideas, I want you to write down the first thing that comes to your mind when I ask you this question. No filtering. There's no right or wrong answer. There's only your answer. At this exact point in your life, not next year, not what it was last month, let's say from now until the next 3 months. What are your top 3 values? Not what you think they should be, but what 3 are truly important to you right now. Be specific. If travel or fun is important to experience again for the next 90 days, then write it down. Be honest. Pause this if you need a minute, but remember, just write down what pops up and don't dismiss it. Okay, great. Keep these handy as we will refer back to them. Next, what are the main areas of your life? Usually, you can segment them into 6 to 8 categories. Here are some examples to get you thinking. Finances, health and physical body, family and friends, romance/love, personal growth, fun and hobbies, physical environment, so that would be like your office or home space, or you can identify it as outside work, whatever it might be, faith and spirituality, business/career/studies. Maybe even more specific, like mother/father, for this quarter or year of your life. I know when both dad and mom were in separate long-term care facilities, and I was dealing with medical CRA audits, taxes, assessments, appointments, etc., I had to create a category for them. Now that the audits have been settled and mom is the only one living, I have placed her back in the family and friends category, as it doesn't take as much concentrated time now. What might be specific for your life right now? You can do this again in 3 to 6 months. As we know, our situation changes over time. Maybe you want a separate category for family and then group friends/social together. You just play with it. Other more specific examples are community service, manager, emotional health, time management, weight loss, contribution, self-image, or self-care. Okay. Out of all of those examples, I know you now have 6 to 8 categories. I work with 8 usually, and I don't recommend you have any more than 10. Okay, so draw a large circle on a blank page and divide it like a pie into the number of segments necessary and label each one. You will then make small marks from the center and label it 0 to the circumference of the circle, which is 10. Now, if you want a pretty version all done for you, you can click the link in the description to access it. This is a key question to write at the top of your page. What level of satisfaction do I have in these categories right now? So, not if they are perfect, but how satisfied are you with them right now? For example, I know I want to be married again, but that's not what I want in the next 3 months. So it's not a priority for me right now. Therefore, I may rate it higher for satisfaction than I will a year from now, even if I'm in the same circumstance. So ask yourself this question. What level of satisfaction do I have right now in, let's say, weight loss? If very satisfied, it would be a 10. If not very satisfied, you might give it a 1. Do this for each category, making a mark across that segment and then coloring it in from the center to the number. If possible, use a different colored pencil for each category or at least alternate them for a better visual. Now, for each category, write the first thing that comes to your mind on an action step you can take in the next 90 days to increase that number, your level of satisfaction in that area. Place an asterisk by the 3 areas that you rated the lowest. Compare these to your top 3 values. What do you notice? Maybe those areas are the strongest, or maybe they are the lowest. If so, could that be why you're feeling out of alignment, uneasy, discontented? Or as many of my clients say, I just feel off. And then I help them get clear on what exactly off is. Let's use health as an example. If you value your health, yet you know you are eating unhealthy or overeating, and you feel uncomfortable, then you have an incongruence, and that's okay. This is good to know, so you can then choose what you are going to make it mean for you. Let's go a step further. Looking at the 3 lowest numbers or the 3 categories that you are choosing, ask yourself, what is in the way? What do you think is stopping you? The obstacles. Do you think it's someone or something? Could it be what you are thinking every day? What stories are you telling yourself over and over again that feels very true? Next, break down complex, overwhelming tasks into small, manageable tasks, and then start on the very first step. For example, if someone you know has not only lost weight, but is keeping it off while still enjoying life, ask them what worked for them. Oh, and here's a shameless plug. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast, as I will be sharing and empowering you to love yourself and life while releasing some unnecessary pounds to feel lighter in your mind and body every Tuesday. Pause and subscribe now so you don't miss an episode. In fact, do you know I have a gift waiting for you that can kickstart you? It's my free 5-part mini-series videos with guide sheets, and it's called 5 Steps So Your Clothes Feel Looser. You can access that from the link in the description. Okay, let's look at another example. A personal budget. Think of someone you admire for their financial management or knowledge and ask them what they use. Maybe it's a template, an Excel spreadsheet, an app. Then decide on a date and time to start. Mark it in your calendar and make that time sacred. Unplug, brainstorm a list of payables, bring up bank statements, etc. And that might be all you can handle for your first session. Now back to the life wheel. Look at your calendar and decide what day and time you can commit to carrying out one action for the 3 categories that you are choosing to take action in this week or month, and block it off. Check in with the ones closest to you to make sure there isn't something already on the family calendar that you need to know about. Because once you place it in your calendar, you want to honor it and think of it as good as done. Not only will that get you to your next step, but it will increase your belief and confidence in yourself that you can follow through. The only way something will change is if you do something different, if you take action. Here's a bonus. Do you want to maximize this even more? Let's do some more plan of action brainstorming, and we are getting even more specific. What would be the one main action that would lead to the best result over time? Get super specific. Keep asking yourself, so what would have to happen for me to do that? What would I have to be thinking, feeling, doing? I first learned this from Gary Keller in his One Thing business workshop, and this question of his is powerful. What is the one thing that will make things easier or unnecessary? Think big, but go small. Wikipedia defines a domino effect or chain reaction as a cumulative effect produced when one event sets off a chain of similar events. I learned from Gary to find the first domino and focus on it exclusively until you knock it over, and then you will find the others behind it. You are keeping the big picture in your mind, but keeping a laser small focus. It takes a feeling of commitment to not let distractions derail you. I know you like examples, and so do I. So I'll share my example to get your ideas churning on what your lead action might be for your domino effect. When I was building my Feel Light Mind and Body weight loss course, in my excitement, I would find myself all over the place and losing focus and steam after a few hours. So I asked myself, what is the one thing that could make everything else easier or unnecessary? In reflecting, I knew that on the mornings that I took the time to spend 15 to 30 minutes in prayer, meditation, journaling, planning, I would do not always all 4, but 1 or 2 of each. I always was more focused and productive, and my energy was sustained even on really full days. So I committed to that and would track it on my calendar, knowing it takes 63 days to really establish a habit. Yes, the newest research shows 63, not 21 days. So that is a fun, updated fact for you. But guess what? I was missing days here and there way too often, so I realized I needed to go smaller or back it out further. I asked myself, why didn't I choose to take that reflective time some mornings? Well, I didn't go to sleep early enough, so I slept in longer, which then ate up the time allotted for doing this. So I committed to going to bed by 10 p.m. at the latest. But again, I wasn't being consistent, so I asked, what would it take to get me consistently going to bed by 10 p.m.? Then I kept on asking, what am I doing at 9:30 now? Oh, still on social media. So what I discovered is, to reach my big goal, I needed to unplug the night before by 9 p.m. at the latest, in order to get to bed by 9:45 and asleep by 10 p.m., in order to wake up at 6 a.m., in order to fit my reflective time in either before or after my workout, so that I could be showered and ready to create at 8 a.m. F.M. Alexander said, "People do not decide their futures. They decide their habits, and their habits decide their future." It will feel great to have identified these action steps, have a plan, even have it blocked in. But then what? Know that once that moment of implementation is here, you may have some fears pop up. There will be self-doubt, and your primitive brain will want to influence you to just go back to what is familiar in its attempt to keep you safe, because it doesn't like change. Your unconscious mind loves a path of least resistance, of what is familiar. So daily, you have to consciously remind yourself. It is helpful to pick a day like Sunday to review your week and what you did and didn't do, and tweak as needed while you are planning, using your prefrontal cortex, the smarter, more evolved part of your brain, and not your primitive survival part. For me, and probably you, this will require being deliberate. I find this especially important after a social night or weekend when I do stay up later, which I'm okay with. However, my brain wants to go back to that old way that takes up less energy at the moment. But the beautiful, empowering takeaway is we always get to choose what will make our life even better. I want to keep these power-packed podcast episodes digestible and doable. You don't need to simply listen to more information. The change will only come with practicing it, so you can learn more about yourself as you go along. That is also part of the fun if you determine to approach it with curiosity rather than judgment. So, why do you think you aren't taking action? Well, in the next Feel Light Mind and Body podcast episode, number 3, we will look at that question. Why do you think you aren't taking action? It's going to be fun to unpack this together. So you can decide whether you want to finish your life wheel work first or listen to episode number 3 and then come back to it. Regardless, take the time to give this gift to yourself. Don't get hung up on the exact process. Just start. Be willing to do so imperfectly perfect. Hey, this podcast would have never reached your ears if I had waited until I deemed it perfect. Just like I will grow and be more comfortable in this new experience, so will you in what matters most to you right now and in the next 3 months. Before you move on with your day, don't forget to check the description for the 2 links to access the Life Wheel and receive your free Kickstart, 5 steps so your clothes feel looser. Thank you so much for inviting me into your day. Not all episodes will have you doing this written planning, but they will all inspire you and empower you to be and live your best life. They will all lead you to feel lighter in your mind and body. I can't wait to get together again in the next podcast. Talk with you then. Now, do yourself the biggest favor. From love, take at least one action step from what you learned today. Knowledge without application won't give you the results that you desire. Let me know on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever, what you are choosing to do and when. And yes, please leave a podcast review wherever you are listening to this. When people read your words and can see themselves in them, then you are contributing to women empowering other women. And that feels amazing. You just might change or save a life today.